to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another after show for NXT right here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm Kathy Kelly. Joining me this week, as always, the
Homeless suplex machine. Right here.
Was that the new thing?
Well, I mean, it's one of the things.
I like it.
Homeless suplex machine, homeless Hulk, you know.
I'll take it.
Let's keep it real.
You have no home in Suplex City.
That's right. I am the one vagabond in Suplex City.
Then sitting next to you, the homo, Mark Donica.
That's right. I am Mark Donica. Hi, Kathy Kelly.
Hello.
You can follow me on Twitter at SoapboxMark. I'm going to be checking our hashtag, which is ABTVNXT All Show.
I'm upset that you're not wearing an NXT shirt, though.
I got the colors, though. I got to represent the brand.
Works.
AfterBuzz Media Group.
On par.
It's branded.
At least.
Yeah.
And then joining us in studio today, Sam Roberts.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming all the way from New York just to do this after show.
I did. That's why I came. You said I could finally be on the NXT after show again. I was like, I'll fly if you'll ever let me on. And you're like, okay, tomorrow. That was yesterday. So it's today.
Well, it's super nice of Sirius to fly you out here.
I said this is what we need to get the word out there about the show, is the AfterBuzz NXT after show. It's the hottest thing on the internet right now. And they're like, all right, we'll take your word for it. And so that's why I'm here.
Dreams do come true, Sammy.
I guess so.
Just follow our lead, I guess.
But obviously, you're a huge wrestling fan, and you recently, you have some insider information because you were down at the Performance Center last week.
Yeah, on Thursday, I was down at the Performance Center shooting something that should be up on the Sports Illustrated website at any moment. I don't think it's there right now.
Okay.
But hopefully today at some point.
No spoilers.
Right. But we were talking to a bunch of people about Breaking Ground.
Okay. We're really excited to cover that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which, I mean, looks like it's going to be amazing. But we got to talk to Bailey and Apollo Crews and Carmella and Finn Balor and Tyler Breeze and a bunch of people about Breaking Ground and what it was and what it entailed and everything. It sounds like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, apparently they I thought they were just it was gonna be about the training and in the Performance Center, but they followed them home. Mm-hmm. Like they had film crews in their houses, they had film crews at the airports.
Were they allowed to follow them home?
I don't know. No, they didn't have cameras with them.
Truman style?
Yeah.
Truman Show?
Yeah, they were just little pinhole cameras everywhere they went. Fake best friends, the whole deal. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interested.
Yeah, it's next week.
And then I got to go to one of the NXT house shows while I was out there in Florida. And
you said Asuka kicked Eva Marie's face off.
Yeah, she did. I don't think people realize that there's like these amazing shows going on in Florida. Every week they're at Coco, and then I think they also do Orlando and maybe one other place. But it's like this armory that holds like 200 people max. And it's not even filled up. And they're it's like going to a tiny little indie show, but they have, you know, the ring and the entrance and the lights and the music and everything, and all the NXT people are there putting on these really fun shows.
A bizarre concept for me, because if they are these international superstars who have, you know, sold out 13,000 seat arenas, and then you're performing and in front of 200 people. They even said at the panel that we went to, Seth Rollins was like, oh yeah, we used to perform in front of like 12 people if we were lucky.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is nuts.
And like you said, just watching Asuka like kick Ava Marie's like face off of her skull, like just repeatedly kicking her in the head.
All red blood, everything.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about the house shows that I ever saw was there was the shot of Finn Balor going for the coup de grace and his head going through the ceiling.
Yeah.
The toss. It's like, well, I blew the roof off the joint. Literally.
Great. Well, let's talk about... That wasn't sarcastic either.
No, I know.
Great. So let's talk about last night's episode. We kick it off with Asuka versus Billie Kay. Lots of kicks in this match.
Lots of kicks. I love kicks.
But this really showcased Billy as well, because we saw her do the suplex. What?
Stalled vertical suplex.
Yeah.
Stalled it for quite some time. She's got some power. She's kind of slight, but I can tell she's tall. She's taller than the rest of the women, so there's
Legs for
power
days.
in her form. Yes.
What do you think, Mark?
I liked seeing the turn of Asuka going from, it's just a match, I'll kick through it and it'll be great, to the you shouldn't have done that, tap the cage a little bit too many times, and seeing her go crazy was just awesome. And the roll through armbar was just really cool and impressive.
Asuka is really great with the crowd. She really lets them feed her and fuel her when she starts to come back. And it's sometimes you don't see that so much with the Japanese wrestlers, but she's into it. When they start getting hot, she'll wait for them. When she's down on the ground, they start coming, and she'll wait till they're at their crescendo. They can't get any louder, and then she'll find the force to come back. It's great.
Yeah.
And she's so aggressive, too. She's, like, believably aggressive, which there aren't a lot of women, especially in WWE, who come across as believably like, no, I'm here to kick butt.
Well, you hire models, you're not going to get a whole lot of ass kickers.
Right.
Or face kickers.
Or face kickers, yeah.
Which we're definitely seeing an uptick in these days.
Models or face kickers?
Face kickers.
Face kickers.
100%.
Which is
Away with the
good.
models,
I'm
you
on
know.
board with that.
Absolutely.
You said you noted the strong style, though, that she comes from.
Well, yeah. In Japan, like, we were talking about this before. It feels like a lot. I would be afraid if I were one of the women that were just at the performance center kind of learning how to wrestle, because Asuka comes from this world where it's like, no, I'm going to go in and kick your ass, and you either protect yourself or you kick my ass even harder, because that's the only way
Brock
this
Lesnar.
right. That's the only way this beating is going to stop. And it's like, if you're not really prepared for that, which you can't be if you haven't been in the ring that much, you're liable to get kicked in the face really hard a whole bunch of times.
Well, it certainly worked. She kicked Billy Kay so hard at one point during this match, she launched herself backwards.
That was pretty great.
That really shows that Billy Kay kind of hung in there with her. She gave her something to kick and didn't go down right away. What do you think of her gear?
Asuka's gear?
Yeah.
I like it. I like the mask. I like that it's kind of like a 80s throwback a little bit. It feels very J-pop to me.
It is J-pop, but if she's supposed to be this fierce, like, what do you think of when you think of J-pop? You think of like happy, like 14-year-old Japanese girls, like.
But I kind of like the whole juxtaposition of it. Like, I like the idea that she's got this mask, and then she comes out and she's like, "Hey, I'm just happy to be here. Yay, we're all having fun." But her idea of gleefully having fun is hurting people really badly,
Maiming people.
Yeah, I think it adds to it.
She should have Baby Metal as her entrance.
Totally, exactly.
Actually, that'd be a great
Yes.
idea.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what it's reminiscent of. This idea of like, oh, we're just cute. And I'm like, no.
I will kill you.
Yeah.
I was kind of confused as to what they're doing with the Australians now, because obviously they came in, they knew how to work, but Billy Kay, until today, we hadn't really seen her as a heel character.
Right. I mean, when you team her with Asuka, you put them against each other, you have to imagine the crowd's going to be more for Asuka. They know her a bit better, and she plays to the more.
But when we see her in a tag match with Peyton Royce a couple weeks back, and she's wearing like matching pink gear, and then now this week she's just all of a sudden in like red and black.
And just a belt holding nothing up.
I liked that though. It was
strap?
something connecting it to the center instead of just having it all the way. It had her name on it, so you can obviously tell who she is.
Sounded like she got hit by moths. Like there was one that was just waiting. She was
It
waiting
must
to
have
put
been
on.
Mothra.
Those-
Asuka sent Mothra to eat her gear.
Son of a bitch.
Asuka locks in the Asuka lock for the win. We see a Corbin package, and he says that he wants to squash the dreams of every wrestler down at NXT.
I had a really interesting moment of sort of revelation when I watched it. They played the Stone Cold Brock Lesnar podcast, and then it went right into NXT. And I got this really Brock Lesnar vibe from Baron Corbin.
I think you're
Does
supposed
anybody
to.
else see that, or was that just me?
I like the attitude-wise.
Yeah.
Just the idea that this is a guy who's coming in here. He doesn't even like wrestling. He doesn't care who's paid their dues. It's really not important to him. He doesn't care about the fans. He's not honored to be there. He's just there, like he said, to squash people's dreams, which is great as compared to like everything you hear from NXT. It's like these guys that have been working all their life and they're just here for their dream. And Baron Corbin was like, I don't know, they called me. They asked me to show up, so I'm here.
No,
and
he
I'm,
called them.
Right.
Joe got called by.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm just here to kind of beat people up, and if, whatever, I'm better than everybody, so it's not really my dream, I just happen to be very good. It's just something very hateable about that.
Oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't hate that?
Which is great.
But then you have Brock Lesnar, who's loved by the fans for his I hate everybody mentality.
Right.
Baron Corbin, who is absolutely hated, so it's funny that they're so similar, and yet the reactions are so very different.
Well, I think they're similar in how they express their character. But did you watch the podcast on Monday?
Yeah, I did.
So seeing Lesnar talk about, I didn't deal with a lot of people growing up, so I don't like a lot of people. I was just on a farm. We had 2 channels on our TV, so that's something kind of relatable. Like, oh, no wonder he doesn't like people. Whereas Baron's like, yeah, I was on a football team and I like those guys. I just don't like any of you, and I'm going to kick all your asses because I can.
Right.
Screw you.
I mean, he's flirting with the idea of like, I was in a real sport and now I'm just here,
Exactly.
which makes me better than you.
Great way to make some money.
My
I mean, that's
gosh,
yeah,
that
that's
would be heat.
I feel like that's the line that's being walked, but they can't
No, you can't
disrespect
push
their
it.
entire product.
Right.
Well, he did in the longer package that we saw a couple months back, where he said he's like, I was paid a lot of money. I don't have to do this, and that's just like squashing everyone that ever did any indie and like got paid $10.
They're like,
I drove 14 hours for $50.
Yeah.
and then Baron Corbin started to be like, yeah, that's stupid. Why would you do that?
Why did you do that?
It's dumb.
Exactly. We see Tyler Bree. Oh no.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
We do?
no,
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
We see Tyler Breeze.
Totally do.
My notes are everywhere today.
You got it.
We see Tyler Breeze, and he says that if he's not a number 1 contender, and Samoa Joe isn't number 1 contender, then he's gonna challenge Joe.
Well, no, I think it was if I can't be the number 1 contender, you can't be the number 1 contender. So that's why he pulled him off the thing. I liked his closer though. Happy to slice a couple pieces of bacon off you.
Yeah, this beef has got some pork as well.
Hey.
Ha ha! Self high five. Yeah.
Yep.
I forgot to mention, thank you for bringing in your bed today.
Hey, that's a California blanket right there. That's what that is.
Exactly. If you guys are a fan of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, you can find one of these. Where they're giving them out
That's
at
at the Staples Center, all day Sunday and maybe Monday. I don't know where Raw is, but wherever they are,
For Hell in a Cell,
WWE, they'll be there.
pretty cool though.
I think I myself am going to be out there as well, depending upon how things pan out.
There's Daniel Bryan and Colt Cabana on the back.
Well, yeah, because they were in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
And there's Beretta, and there's AJ Styles.
And there's Hobo.
There's me.
Yeah, he's on the front page, not on the back page like the rest of those scrubs.
That's right.
And I have a
Get good,
byline
scrub.
on the second page.
Hey.
Jervis has an advice column.
Pretty
That's
beautiful.
cute.
He should.
It's pretty adorable. He's
Yeah.
the world's sweetest man.
So next match we have Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy versus the Mechanics for number 1 contender spot.
Was it?
Was it
Was
really?
it? I thought it was.
No, it's just
No.
for
Was it?
bragging
Okay.
rights.
I just made that
Yeah.
up then. As I mentioned, my notes are all over the place today.
Thank you for booking that match that didn't happen.
Well, it should be for the number 1
should.
contender spot.
Well, I mean, it's the whole division's kind of in a bit of an uproar because everybody was beating everybody. So now we have to kind of
Eating
rebuild
everybody.
it, and the Mechanics figure themselves to be in the number 1 contender seat, considering they beat the champions in a non-title match.
Right.
So I can't necessarily disagree with them, but they're coming into this going, we should be the number 1 contenders just right off the bat. And I sort of have to agree with them, but I don't necessarily agree with their methods in how they get to where they're going.
Well, that's what this match was all about. This match was to show, like, we can win, but when we don't, we're going to make sure that you ain't going to fight us again. Because they annihilated Zoe's knee, and Cass got left with the Shatter Machine.
Yeah.
It was... Yeah.
Cass got the Shatter Machine.
I mean,
Yeah,
this was
that's-
a really short match, too.
Ended with a roll-up. Just when it was starting to get good.
That's
the
That's
idea.
a good thing.
Yeah, that's the idea, I know.
So, even though Enzo and Cass win, do you think that the Mechanics kind of came out on top in this?
I mean, Enzo and Cass won the battle. They obviously didn't win the war. So I don't know what is necessarily next for the Mechanics or for Enzo and Cass. I do know they sort of have to regroup Enzo and Cass because they're hurting badly. One of them was seen on crutches recently.
Yeah, Cass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do not know what's next.
Do you think that's a work?
I don't know. I really don't, actually.
Never know.
What do you think of the tag division down at NXT?
I think Hobos makes a good point about having to kind of rebuild the whole thing. That you're at a point now where you've got guys that have been there for a long time, but everybody's beaten everybody and everybody's lost to everybody, and so you're kind of laying, especially with the Dusty Rhodes. It's weird the way the tag tournament ended.
Yeah.
Because the Dusty Rhodes tag tournament didn't really do anything to push one team to the obvious forefront, except the two guys that are already, except the world
Not
champion.
a tag
Two guys that are already fighting each other.
And Samoa Joe, right. So these are already the two top guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it really didn't do anything to push the tag division forward at all. You are left with this kind of blank slate on what's going on. I think what was good about that match was it did leave you with a renewed interest in the Mechanics. I think Enzo and Cass already have, whenever they come out, they've got interest. They've got the fans.
Yeah.
They're not going to lose that. Whereas, the Mechanics are the ones that are building this, and they didn't win the match, but they left with I need to see what's going to happen next with these guys.
Yeah.
This gives me the impression that Dash and Dawson are going to stop until they do this to every single tag team on the roster. Mm-hmm. And so they'll be like, oh, see, none of these guys can compete, so it's just us. And I kind of want to see
by
that.
Default.
Yeah. No one else can show up.
Right.
We do have a lot of tag teams down there right now, though. It's just there isn't a clear
Well, we just lost one with Angelo Dawkins and Chad Gable.
What?
Wait, nope. I'm sorry.
Jason
wrong.
Jordan?
No, not. No. Angelo Dawkins
and the big cat with the skunk hair.
Totally lost
from
it.
last
I feel
week.
terrible. Yeah. Totally lost his name. I feel terrible.
Forgot that they were tagged. Sawyer Fulton.
Sawyer Fulton.
There
Yes.
you go.
God, sorry, they were all in the stable for a short time, and totally. But we just lost them last week. They're supposedly splitting because of a backstage segment that aired. So
Breakup.
It's pretty sad breakup.
That's sad.
They weren't wearing matching gear anymore.
Yeah, sometimes you just grow apart as a couple.
Yeah, the fire wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
It was pretty sad.
When you have skunk hair, someone's embarrassed to be around you.
Why didn't you ask me before you got your hair done like that?
I didn't know I needed your permission.
I just would have liked to know is all.
You're not the boss of me.
That's how it happened.
We see Eva Marie with her face in Paris.
Right.
Face still intact.
Somebody had a good comment on my Twitter account. They said Eva Marie's vignettes from Europe remind them of when Suzanne Summers was not allowed on the last season of Three's Company. So they just went to shots of her in another studio calling in because she couldn't be there while they were filming the show, but she was still under contract.
That is one of the most interesting comparisons
I
I've
know.
heard to date.
But very true.
What a reference.
Work.
Jeez. But this whole thing is just building her so much more as I'm doing this because I want to be there. So I don't even need all you guys. I know you miss me. You're missing me as much as you can because I'm everybody's favorite, but I just need some me time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's been working so hard, you guys. So hard.
But supposedly she's back in town for tonight's tapings.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
So we're going to see 2 more promos from her. Pretty excited.
Well,
Still on vacay. So, what a jerk.
All Blue Everything.
All Blue Everything.
Yep.
Danny Burch versus James Storm.
James G.D. Storm.
That was the guy in the crowd.
Oh, that was the reaction guy? It's rough, though, with Full Sail because the crowds are so small that, if you really looked at that shot, there was one guy, losing his mind, and then the guy behind him was just didn't care at all. Yeah. He was like, I only watch NXT. I don't know who this guy is.
I think that's all crowds,
everybody going
though.
crazy.
They're only into what they're into, and they sort of completely reserve all of their energy for the people they like.
Right.
So you better impress them in order for them to get off their seat and unfold their arms.
Right.
If you think about it, I feel like NXT fans, hardcore NXT fans, are kind of just like hipsters because we're always like, oh yeah, we knew about it before it was cool. And then
Watch SmackDown tonight on the USA Network for reasons.
I think it's on Sci-Fi.
Is it on Sci-Fi?
Yeah, it's on
there
Sci-Fi.
hipsters
Oh, it's not on USA yet. Well, it's about knowing things before they were cool.
Well, I mean, they put it on the website.
Fair. Tyler Breeze.
That's
I'm excited.
official. Tyler Breeze debut.
I'm a little excited about Tyler Breeze. Sorry, I just had to check my phone for something real quick.
What do you think of Storm's debut, though?
I thought it looked really strong. Danny Burch just was moving as fast as he could during this match. He was
dynamo.
absolutely scrambling, and
Because he knows that's his moment.
Yeah.
I'm working James Storm. I better get my stuff in. Like, cool it, Birch. You just take your time, pick your spots. And
Was the hip toss?
with that and sort of everything else was just like, calm down. I know it's James Storm, but you need to just relax.
I think it's really funny the refusal to say TNA on TV anywhere. It's like he's using the same name, his tights look the same, the gimmick's the same, but it's like James Storm. He was a part of WCW before they closed, 15 years on the Indies, and now he's back.
That was like the most like
Yeah.
On commentary too, when they're like, "Wow, James Storm," and then they just go into like, "Oh yeah, James Storm did obviously Regal and him are friends, so he's brought him in,
Right.
knew everything about him."
What a surprise! But we were ready. We got him ready all of his things for just in case he would show up.
Yeah.
Just pull the mic today. Oh, it's James Storm!
Obviously,
good pull.
the internet and all the fans at that taping were surprised.
Oh yeah.
With all of the people that they've signed from the Indies, did you ever think James Storm
Other
from not
companies.
TNA would be signed?
He was one of the last people on my list. I will say that, but I'm happy he's here. Good for him.
Yeah, he doesn't. Like I said, I think it was last week. He doesn't fit their mold at all.
Right.
He's 38 years old. He's kind of on the
he's
heavier
older.
side. He doesn't really fit with the mix of what their roster is because it's all usual, young up and coming guys. And James Storm's an established dude.
Can you ever see him on the main roster of WWE, or do you think that he'll just stay down at NXT for however long?
I could see him on the main roster. I think he would actually do pretty well because he's used to big crowds and he's used to arena-type wrestling. And he's used to television wrestling. So he could go on to television really quickly, but I don't know what his role is going to be. He could be a trainer. He could be a guy brought into NXT to sort of help develop younger talent, much like Rhino is right now. Mm-hmm. But I really don't know what that is. So I could see him on the main roster television, but I don't know if that is, in fact, where he's headed.
Yeah, and I don't think he would have the same reaction on the main roster either, because the NXT crowd is a more sort of savvy wrestling crowd, whereas, James Storm is not an indie guy. He's a TNA guy. He's a guy who's established in TNA. And the fact is that, the majority of the people who watch Raw don't watch TNA. So as established as James Storm is, the mainstream audience that WWE is going for, on Monday Night Raw, James Storm has no history. He doesn't. They're not going to bring him in the way they brought him in. And when somebody comes into NXT and has history, they kind of acknowledge that. But when they go to Raw, the Ascension went to Raw and they barely acknowledged their NXT history.
Yeah.
Then they wisened up and decided to use that.
Right. We have all this back footage. Maybe we should use it to build a package to push these guys.
No, they're the Illuminati now.
Right.
Damn it.
They're
I think the only thing Storm could do is a drinking contest with Austin, which is I think what the fans would want to see. That's the only thing that I could see him doing on the main roster.
I thought that the first person, if they did ever sign anyone from TNA, would be Austin Aries.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
That's who I saw being the next debut.
Yeah, and then they could go back and call him somebody who took the Indies by storm and blah 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 without acknowledging it's not such a guy who's no. The majority of the history here is TNA.
He's been with TNA since the beginning. He's one of the few people that has stayed with them through thick and thin, despite how thin they are now. But he's always been one of the people that you go, oh, well, that's a TNA guy.
Yeah. And there's only a few of them.
Yeah, him, Abyss, AJ Styles, Chris Daniels,
Samoa Joe.
Arguably.
10 years with the company.
Yeah, but I was Ring of Honor in Japan.
then that makes him more of an indie guy?
Yeah, it would make sense because he was this was just a stop on my tour, as opposed to James Storm, who was like, no, this is my army, sort of a thing.
Yeah, because you could argue that definitely before he was in TNA, Samoa Joe was already a Ring of Honor guy.
Mm-hmm. True. Yes.
So that is like you could. Like, there is footage worth showing of Samoa Joe that's not TNA footage.
Yeah.
Whereas with James Storm, it's like, I'm sure there is some stuff, but it's not really relevant to his career.
No.
After this, we have been wanting this for weeks now, but we finally get an Apollo Crews video package.
Sorry, really quick, one more thing before we end on Storm. I heard one of the lyrics of his new theme is "Never send a boy to do a man's job," which I think will dictate his role in the company. He will be like a Rhino, but also we got a "Sorry about your damn luck." He's using all of the same stuff, and nobody has a problem with it because it's awesome.
Yeah, and the fact that they're not repackaging him is probably more to your point about him staying in NXT.
Yeah.
They know it works, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, they saw it on television. They went, well, we would like to have that, all of that.
Right.
Let's get that.
So, Apollo Crews.
Yeah, there was a thing.
Cool, we got it.
I don't know. I mean,
You didn't like it.
it's not that I didn't like it. I thought it was really well done, but I don't know if it necessarily changes the way I feel about Apollo Crews.
I know more about this guy now. So that's what I wanted. I didn't know anything about him other than he is a physical pariah who was on the indie circuit. Like that.
Pariah?
Yes.
A leash on society?
Yes. He's magic. He was magic and a thing that I didn't believe until I looked behind the curtain, and now looking behind the curtain, I can empathize and sympathize with him now, and I like him. I now that I know about him, I like the guy.
Yeah.
Before, I just didn't know anything.
I mean, a lot of people were comparing this to the Balor segments that they had done a few months back. I thought that this is what they were going to do with Breaking Ground. Like, we were going to see these more elaborated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They still might.
Yeah.
I mean, they might just do that anyway, right?
I just come from a place as a professional in my field going, why did we need this interview? Why couldn't we have worked this in promos?
Because he's got a match in 2 weeks.
I know, but all the same, he could have been cutting promos up to now, working some of this stuff in, so that we don't have to do a big expose type interview.
Did we need the Balor one? Like, everyone enjoyed those.
Right. That was leading up to a big match, and I suppose
This is a big match. I mean, he's the #1 contender for the NXT championship.
But it's not necessarily on a takeover.
It's not, but that's still a huge opportunity.
And it does give you a reason to, like, okay, 2 weeks out, now I have a reason to really care. He's not just a guy who's really fun to watch and now he gets to fight for the title. It's like, oh, this is a guy who actually has wanted this all his life and it's his dream coming true. And I mean, it's not a story we haven't heard before, but at least we know he's
is
not
that
just
Finn
one
Balor
of these
story?
But he's not just one of these guys who's super athletic that's like, this is what I'm going to do today.
I don't know. I'm still not 100%
Well,
sold.
part 2 is coming next week.
Oh, boy!
I'm interested to see how that matchup will work because you have Finn Balor, who is one of the most liked guys in the company or by fans, and then you have Apollo Crews. Why would we hate Apollo Crews either? Like,
So I think they were probably billing this as like a physical just contest of two amazing
they
wrestlers.
handshake at the beginning,
Right.
handshake at the end.
No, it'll be that kind of match.
And we also saw on television anyway, the beginning or the continuation of the relationship with Evolve, because we got a lot of the footage from his days in Evolve,
Right.
which I thought was cool.
Do you think that's why they're pushing him right now, because of their semi-partnership with Evolve?
It's possible. I don't. It's not unlikely, but I don't think it's the main reason.
Everything's a business decision. But
Did either of you
can't
catch
necessarily-
the shows this weekend or no?
What?
Evolve?
No.
Those are televised
Shows?
Like,
We
I know
just
there
watched.
They were
were
on,
a lot of people I know
It's
there. Willie
isn't
Mack
it a
was
pay-per-view or
Internet
an online?
pay-per-view,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. I'm a hobo.
Yeah.
Somehow watch NXT though.
Hey, I got friends. Thanks for sharing your password.
You're welcome.
You like Apollo Crews, though.
I like Apollo Crews a lot. I thought I enjoyed the vignettes, and I feel like the match is one of these things where this will be hopefully the first in a lot of times these guys go head to head. Like, do I think that Apollo Crews is going to win the NXT championship? Like, of course I don't think that that's going to happen. But I do think it's going to be one of those things where, this new guy, I could kind of see him taking that role. And it'll be the beginning of like, a year from now, he got a shot and it was just too early, but he spent the last year and he's got all this support now, and then he can go. This is kind of like, I feel, the beginning of a long story that could be sort of an early thought of, okay, if we lose Finn Balor to the main roster, who do we have? Let's build Apollo to be the next guy.
I agree.
Yeah.
It feels like that.
How would you feel if he did win it, though?
If he won it, like, at a TV? I mean...
Just won it.
It would be buzzworthy, but I feel like it'd be short-term thinking.
I feel like it would be the WTF moment. Like, whoa.
I also feel like it would probably cost Apollo some of the respect that he's just getting started to build. Like, I don't necessarily think that fans in big numbers want to see a guy come in, and even though he's got this indie reputation, he doesn't have Balor's reputation. Like, people didn't...
Or Owen's reputation.
Right. Like, unless you went to Dragon Gate or Evolve shows, you didn't really know who High Nation was. You just kind of heard a little buzz about him. So I don't think that most fans want to see him win the title this quickly. And people love Finn Balor, so it's not like it's this heel champion that we're ready to see go. People love seeing Finn Balor as champion. So I think I'd be surprised by that, and I feel like long term that would be a mistake.
And it works more to the ethos that he even said in the package was, if you have a dream and you want to chase it, you can accomplish whatever you set out to do, which can work in a long term,
right?
No matter what. So it'll make it more exciting as he chases it, and when he finally does win it, it'll be such a huge.
You want to see the journey,
exactly?
Yeah,
exactly, not the destination.
We saw another very quick Nia Jax promo
next week,
and then the second women's match of the night, Alexa Bliss versus Peyton Royce. What do you think?
I liked it. I really do. I feel that Alexa Bliss has come a very long way. Like, she's going to be hanging in there with Bayley. I feel like a lot of people have questioned, is she ready? Is she ready? I do think she's ready.
I mean, like, when we saw Sasha and Charlotte and Becky all go to the main roster in one night, that made everyone kind of freak out as far as what is the women's division down at NXT going to be now. And so was she ready in that moment to be at the top of the women's division down at NXT? I don't think so, but I think that she kind of like is becoming ready quicker than she needs to be, but she is.
I think in her time off, really, from the ring, pushing Blake and Murphy harder, being their valet, I think she's been putting in a lot of work that nobody really
She's
thought
so
about.
good on the mic.
I was just about to say.
Like, her segment
fantastic.
with Bayley last week, that was incredible.
Yeah.
And
that
even
was so believable.
Her quick promo after the match this week was
awesome.
really, really good. And we've seen a lot of the women who are not great.
Right.
I mean, we've seen a lot of guys, a lot of people that aren't
just
great.
people in general.
No,
but
it's true.
She gets it.
Yeah.
She believes it.
I apologize for not knowing where this came from, but I think it was a YouTube comment we got, someone comparing her to Trish Stratus and saying that Vince has been wanting to find the new version of that for years, and that they found it in Alexa Bliss.
It's possible. Time will
Yeah.
tell. It's like comparing somebody to anybody great. You actually have to live up to that expectation, and with time, you may or may not, and that's the determining factor
like
is time.
Enzo Amore, the new Ric Flair. We'll give him some time, damn it.
Right. Tyler Breeze, the new Shawn Michaels.
Give him some time.
Yeah. Give it time.
This match was great, though. It blew my mind seeing Alexa do a judo throw to somebody as huge as Peyton Royce.
Well, she's got the upper hand, lower
Yeah,
center of gravity.
exactly.
You just
Just
grab her,
whoa.
pop the hip, and take her over. That was really smart.
Flipping
That
nuts.
makes Peyton sound like she's like large, and she's not.
No, she's just tall.
Alexa's just really freaking small.
Yeah.
And you have to use that to your advantage sometimes. If your center of gravity is lower, you can pull off some maneuvers like the judo throw, suplexes. Granted, suplexes are all in the hip, but judo throw, you just kind of you take her over because of the higher center of gravity. You just tip it over the point. Never mind.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I was getting kind of trainery there for a second.
If you want to learn how to wrestle, you do it better than me. Do it after. That's what you were going for.
If you want to learn how to wrestle, follow at CWFH Training on Twitter.
I did say wait to the end, but that's fine.
Did anybody catch Blake wearing Alexa's earrings?
Oh, so good.
Like choker?
Yeah.
I lost it at that point.
I gotta tell you,
this is fantastic.
When he was wearing the earrings and choker, I said, "This is the next Shawn Michaels right here."
Give us some time.
Alexa wins with the Sparkle Splash, and the
spits on her. It looked like she spit on her.
Did she?
She gave a quick like in her direction. So it may have been a quick shout, but it could have been like a fake spit on her too.
She started the match looking disgusted. Yeah. Like she did not even want to do this. Just like, nah, I don't feel like it today.
Why should she?
Right.
Do you guys want to talk about what she said afterwards?
Well, I mean, she called Bayley. She congratulated her again, called her a role model and inspiration. But she said that she's what everybody strives to be, which is a huge thing to say about yourself, and had her put herself even higher than she was last week. She's just making herself more and more important.
And then her boys literally, physically lifted her higher.
And that's such a great effect too. We haven't seen that yet in NXT.
This is a really bad comparison. The Chihuahuas that think that they're the alpha dog in the pack, like that is Alexa Bliss. Like she deserves it, and she's like leading everyone, but she's so tiny and petite, and it's kind of like hysterically cute.
Right, and annoying like a good bad guy should be.
Yeah.
Napoleon
complex, but for a girl.
Right, and like a Chihuahua.
Chihuahua complex. Yeah.
You're adorable. Stop humping my leg.
Like a French Chihuahua. Napoleon.
Oh, yeah.
That's a mix. Okay.
Baron Corbin versus Rhino. We knew this was happening.
Where was this match earlier this year?
Well, because they had to stick it out for the Dusty Classic.
Well, no, I mean when they had this match at a takeover. Yeah. And it just wasn't interesting. But this one, they took their time. They beat the hell out of each other with mostly strikes for the entire match. And it was interesting. And not just because of their history in the Dusty Classic and the Battle Royal and everything, because their performances made it interesting.
Do you think that it also has something to do with us knowing more about Corbin now? Because back then we didn't.
We knew the same that we knew about Corbin before the Dusty Classic, which was when their match took place. The first match of this series took place. So I don't think so. I thought we knew plenty about him.
It could just be a matter of Baron Corbin getting more comfortable with
himself.
Yeah, being who he now, because for a long time, and even though, we knew this and the promo was on TV and the vignette was on TV a few months ago, that's still like that element of Corbin's character is new to him as a performer.
Yeah.
So it's like we not only have to think about our expectations, but this is NXT, so you know that stuff is kind of being worked as we go.
Exactly.
We forget that it's developmental.
Right.
Because it's
we have to remind ourselves.
It's such a good product where we forget that these people are still trying to figure out what their character should be for their eventual main roster
and
debut.
as a former football player, this is kind of this.
I thought you were talking about yourself.
Sorry, that's right. I know.
Yeah.
You were
a kicker, right?
Yes, I played for the Rams for a little while before I was a broadcaster. But that's.
You got a lot of home runs for the Rams?
I did. Yeah.
Home runs.
Yeah, I scored lots of goals. But that's neither here nor there. You can Wikipedia that. But I think that, Baron Corbin coming from football, this era is the first time where he's got a real story to tell in the ring. And I think he's learning how to tell a story. And Rhino knows how to do it, but you need two people doing that. So I think this match now is a match where you've got guys that are ready to kind of tell a story and that know what the story is that they're telling. Because I think psychologically, and Hobo, you could probably be better at this than I am, in the ring, you not only have to tell a story, but you kind of have to know what the story is that you're telling psychologically.
You do.
Yeah.
You really have to. Only in knowing the story can you tell the story to others.
Right.
You can't actually tell a story that you don't know.
Right.
So you have to build it.
I didn't mean to put it so negatively, but I see it as a positive thing where from spending all of the time with Rhino during this tag team, they've probably had a big chance to talk about ring psychology, and his work is finally is paying off, and it's something that we've been saying for a little while now. We've been waiting to see the guy that captured our imagination when he first debuted 2 years ago as just hey, look, it's Baron Corbin, he used to play football. But now it's like, cool, somebody that the audience can really hate, and somebody who can tell a story, and somebody who can kick an ass.
When we first saw Corbin, when he was just doing end of days after end of days after end of days, I could not wait for that to be over, for him to be off TV. And now I'm like, I like it. Like I'm happy that he's getting these matches.
I want him to be just a little bit bigger. Just a little bit bigger than he is.
That'll come with time,
emotionally, I think. I agree. But if he just were a little bit bigger, he can talk to the audience in the moment. But I think if he were just a little bit bigger with pretty much everything, he would be right where he should be. Like being a big guy. Bigger guys don't think about being big because they're already big. So you actually have to think, I have to be big. Like everything has to be big, and that's something you've got to commit to in the moment. And I think he'll get there, but it's just almost there. It's developmental, and he'll develop.
I feel like with the confidence versus his cockiness too is usually when you see someone who's super confident in their abilities and what they bring to the ring or to any sort of profession, they're kind of like subdued. Like they don't feel the need to brag about it all the time. So that's where, like, when we see him, he's usually very like calm and collected. But then cocky people, they're just like loud and like they want to show you how good they are.
It's the Donald Trump effect. Yep.
Yeah.
He is wrestling. Donald Trump is wrestling. He is ridiculous looking and big and loud.
And he was on Raw.
Yeah.
He hosted 2 WrestleManias.
He shaved Vince McMahon's head. He is wrestling, and that's exactly what you need to be when you're a wrestler, is just annoying to the point of people just want to shut you off if you're the bad guy.
Or just watch you all the time.
Right. Like you're a train wreck.
He could be the CEO of the United States of America.
Absolutely.
He'll be the general manager. He'll make all the matches between different countries and such.
Be perfect. Anything else you want to mention from this match?
I mean, it was hard hitting and entertaining despite its slower pace.
Rhino, I think, is a really good foil for Corbin.
Yeah.
Because his expressions are so much bigger than Corbin's. Like, if they were able to spread it evenly between them, it would be an even match. But Rhino, everything he does, he has such great facial expressions. When that gore didn't work, he looked like his world was over. My career is done. I'm screwed.
I can't do it anymore.
Fantastic. Oh, God, why?
Like, breathing so heavily out of his nose that it looks like snot's just going to come out.
Yes.
He's gross crying.
That's a good visual interpretation. Yeah.
After this match, to close out NXT, we saw Samoa Joe backstage setting up for next week. He says Tyler Breeze is definitely going to get himself hurt.
You get your highlights in your hair, you do your face all pretty, and you take that selfie because you will never be the same again.
This made me want to watch this match.
It's going to make you an uggo.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed uggo.
This will be great.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think it was excellent.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Yeah. And if there's anybody that you can believe is going to make Tyler ugly, you believe Samoa Joe is capable of it.
You're going to slap him a bunch.
Yeah.
We mentioned it on the show earlier that
there's news.
Some spoilers news. Do you just want to do news?
Yeah, I got a little bit. Let's hit it.
Okay.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So on Tuesday night, there was a debut on SmackDown that kind of supposedly got pushed up, if you want to believe terrible wrestling rags. Tyler Breeze will make his debut tonight on the SmackDown program. Make sure to tune in. WWE already announced it. You know our policy here at NXT AfterBuzz. If WWE officially announces it, we can talk about it. And there's
Or
a
if we
lot.
just want to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Right.
We interviewed the guy. Very, very nice dude. Couldn't be happier for him to make his debut on SmackDown. He's paired with Summer Rae for the foreseeable future, setting up something with Dolph Ziggler. And there are already reports. There are already.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are already
Really?
reports, though, that WWE's merchandising division is making Tyler Breeze selfie sticks.
Oh.
Whether
With
they're
the
gonna
fur?
don't know yet.
Ugh.
Don't know yet, but they want to make sure that he has his own gimmick to hit people with and inspire children. There's also news that the November 19th taping for NXT TV sold out in under an hour, so it's getting shorter and shorter. If you wanted to buy any tickets to live events, and of course, this weekend is the Aftershock Festival in Sacramento, California, where you can see the NXT performers perform, as well as Slipknot, a bunch of other awesome metal bands. And some of our very own NXT team are going to be there, including Miss Kathy Kelly and Miss the Hobo.
Miss?
Yeah, well, you gave your thumbs up, so I thought it was okay for me to call you a miss.
I'm not a lady.
All right, Mrs. the Hobo are going to be there conducting interviews with some of your favorite and maybe some of your not favorite NXT superstars. It's because they're heels, too.
Yes.
Yes,
they're
that's why I
heels,
said it.
And they're good guys.
Or maybe you only have one favorite, so the other
And everybody
ones
else is just...
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You
Or
know,
like
just
you
let
like them, but
throw
they're
a
not your
microphone.
favorite.
Yeah. But you don't like them like
You don't like them, but you like them.
Like middle school. Like
You like them, but you're not in like with them?
Right.
So, yeah, you walk up to the interview, you hand him a thing that says, do you like me, yes or no, and check.
Or maybe.
Definite maybe.
Perfect. But that is your news and gossip for AfterBuzz TV's NXT After Show.
Awesome. They did some signings.
They
It
did?
was announced.
Wait, what?
Was
what?
that not...
They did some signings?
Did they
Who's
not...
they?
Did they not announce it?
Who's they?
I don't even know. anymore.
NXT?
What are we talking about? News is over, Kathy.
All the news that was to be newsed was done by him, apparently.
Why?
No, I don't understand. I don't know who announced what for where and
Who
when.
announced what?
Are you
Didn't
talking
they-
about for Aftershock?
No, they announced signings for NXT.
Like the
Without
super-
Oh,
logo.
no
Superstars
people
being
being
signed.
signed?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Do you
no.
not get that news?
No, I didn't get that news.
Who got signed?
Daria.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
good.
Yeah, sorry.
AfterBuzz host.
If
I
you-
mean, that's
yeah,
kind of big news.
You kind of announced that yourself through your Chatting Kathy thing. You pushed that.
I didn't announce it on
Well,
Chatting
no,
with Kathy because I
should
didn't
have.
know at the
saying
time.
Think of the press.
You yourself announced it with the Chatting Kathy.
Well, what
that
if people
you
don't
should
follow me
do.
on Twitter? How are they going to know?
Really?
They can do
Maybe you
that.
should follow me on Twitter at Catherine Kelly.
That's where all the real news gets broken.
That's right.
But it wasn't just
Something's
Daria.
broken.
No, who else?
It was Tough Patrick and Tough Mata.
Yeah, Mata,
Right.
who's
I don't
also
know if
been
they
in
have last
studio.
names.
No, Tough is their first name.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, Patrick and Mata are their last names.
Yeah.
They've signed themselves over
Makes sense.
forever.
So now that's 5 people from Tough Enough, or 6?
Seven?
Seven.
Math.
I didn't watch Tough Enough. So
Can
there's
you,
that.
can you name them all?
Who's not
Sit.
signed from Tough Enough?
Oh, I can't do that.
There were too many.
Chelsea, the one wrestler.
The one wrestler she's
Not signed?
Not
Oh,
yet.
poor Chelsea.
Who has been
Yeah.
signed from Tough Enough? We have Josh and Sarah, who are the two winners. Amanda and Zizi, who are the runners-up.
In the Breaking Ground promo, I heard
Breaking
Zizi's
Ground.
voice.
I did too. I was
So
like,
I was
what
like,
the?
all right, I guess we're following Zizi a little bit more.
I like him.
Yeah, he
He
was a
makes
nice guy.
good television.
He was a really good interview.
He was a really good
There's
interview.
something about that kid.
That was like 12 minutes long.
Well, he's a talker, which means it was a good interview for the interviewer. Brandon did a good job.
Yeah, he
I
did.
liked what he did.
Afterwards, I asked him boxers or briefs, and he said, none.
Good for him.
Commando.
Although, based on like what he did in the ring, he should get like an Eva Marie type reaction where he just becomes a bad guy because he's.
Can Asuka just kick him in the face?
That would be great. That would be exactly how they should book him.
Yeah. I think they should book him in a crocodile outfit. Like, get him just a mascot, like, uniform as a crocodile.
Instead of the bunny, it's the croc.
Right.
So then when he falls, or one of those inflatable sumo outfits where,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
when you fall, it's just, like, kind of fun. You bounce back up.
Right. And
Maybe you should get like a bull tattoo and wear nothing but like alligator skin. He can be the Crocodile Rock.
what would his music be?
Billy Joel or something.
Yeah.
Something from that
Something
era.
like that.
Piano player of some sort.
Well, Thank you for listening to all of our brilliant ideas here on the NXT After Show.
So happy with
Awesome winners.
So happy with yourself.
Sam, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
And it's a damn pleasure. Please, anytime. Please come back.
If you want
yeah.
to plug your podcast and all the awesome things that you're doing.
Yeah, you can listen to my wrestling podcast. If you like wrestling, I know there's a lot of people who watch the show that are not wrestling fans.
Yeah.
It's true.
But subscribe to Sam Roberts' Wrestling Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and notsam.com. And of course, Sam Roberts Show is on SiriusXM every night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 on the West on XM 103, Sirius 206.
Broadcasting from LA the next couple days.
Right, from the Undergaro Studios.
That's a nice studio they set up.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful studio, and you can see photos of it at NotSam on Twitter.
Nice.
Where can they follow you?
Follow me on Twitter at TrueHobo. ProWrestlingTees.com/Hobo is where you don't buy the shirt. Buy the shirts at NXTeam.Spreadshirt.com. Watch Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. HollywoodWrestling.com if you want all the info. And if you want to learn how to wrestle, follow at CWFH Training on Twitter.
There it is. Make sure to also follow The Gimmick Pod, which is our wrestling podcast that the NXT team does, because we do so many broadcasts. Also, follow myself on Twitter, Soapbox Mark. Did a whole bunch of stuff for Popcorn Talk Network yesterday. And we do have new stuff up on the NXTeam.Spreadshirt.com website, including I'm a Kathy Kelly guy, I'm a Hobo, and for a limited time, until they pull it off for copyright infringement, a Solomon Krang, which is a fun thing that we came up with the show last week. Get it before it's gone, because they will ping us.
I know Solomon Crow's a fan.
He is. He liked that a lot.
He did.
You can follow me on Twitter at Catherine Kelly and on Instagram at Kathy Kelly. Download my podcast, Chatting with Kathy, and you can follow all of us here on Twitter and Instagram at AfterBuzz TV. We'll see you next week.
Bye, buddy.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.